All right. Hello, everybody. I believe we're live streaming. I'll have Ronald take a look at that just to make sure what's going on over there. But it is good to see everybody tonight in the Zoom room. Those of you that are watching via YouTube channel. And I just like to say that you can share that video on YouTube with all your social media platforms. Invite some other people to come in and join the group. Just simply go to Outreach No on YouTube and hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell that you'll be notified every time a new video goes up. You can also find all the links to what we're doing on A Simple Walk Facebook page. It's a public group. You can find that on A Simple Walk. And then also those of you listening tonight on Power Faith Radio, we thank you so much for coming this way and joining us there. I just got a message. I'm trying to figure. Okay. And so I fixed that problem. So it's good to have everybody listening to Power Faith Radio. And it is certainly, as I said, it's certainly good to have you with us. So Terry, are you ready to greet everybody in the Zoom room, and we'll get ready to get into our Sadaka time and get right on into the meeting tonight?
All righty. Greetings, everyone. Welcome again to our Outreach Noah class tonight. Greet everyone here in the Zoom room. Of course, Scotty up in my upper left-hand corner down there operating the engine room for us. Then we've got Bob and Ronald, Sabra, Wendell, Veronica, and Karen, and anyone else that wants to come in and join the Zoom room. You can. The link is found in A Simple Walk Facebook page, which is an open, like Scotty said, it's an open group. You can go in there and click the link and come on in and join us in the live Zoom room if you want to. Tonight, we're going to be picking back up in our book study of the Seven Gates of Righteous Knowledge. We're going to be on page 77. We're going to be discussing and going over the contemplation of the prohibition of forbidden relations. And it's a short section, but I have at the end of it, we'll be covering Rabbi Hirsch's teachings on a couple of verses out of Genesis that goes along with our subject tonight. So I think you're going to find some really good information. You may want to take some notes. If you got any questions, just feel free to shoot Scotty an email on outreachnoah at gmail.com. And Scotty, remind me, I need to tell you something just popped up on my computer.
Okay.
I can tell it was a scammer. It just popped up, but I'll tell you about it later.
Okay.
But anyhow, we're going to cover a couple things from Rabbi Hirsch's teachings in some Genesis, where we get our prohibition on forbidden relations. That we'll have some good information. Going to get into some Hebrew of the passages, and again, you might want to have some note-taking material there to take you some notes, so you can refer back to them. Are you ready, Scotty?
I am ready. So I want to say this. If I can punch a plug here, let's see, how am I going to punch this plug? Well, let me just say this. So I didn't say this to anybody, but a couple of weeks ago, Annie developed, it went right out of my mind, so I guess I ought not tell it, but so she developed shingles. And so we've always heard where it was just very rough to get rid of. And so we went to a local pharmacy that is a holistic pharmacy. And they told us what to do. And they put us on a couple of different, let's see, if somebody get William, they told us a couple things to do. And I want to say within 3 days, the rash was disappearing. Within 5 days, the rash is gone. And so it was a blistery, you all know how that is. So I challenge everybody to find out. I'm not a doctor. I don't want to throw us off YouTube here, but I just want to give the creator, can I get a witness from that, Karen? She turned her mic off. But she's fine now. It's gone. And so we're doing great there. All right. So now we're going to get on into our Sadaka time. As always, we appreciate everybody who has participated in our Sadaka time and sending us names. Some of these names, I'm hoping I can pronounce. If not, you'll just have to bear with me. I'll do the best that I can. As always, Terry and I love to give a tzedakah for our main teacher, Pesach and Shira Sherbo. They live in Sfat, Israel. And then also, we're giving tzedakah tonight for Patsy, Breesley, Bate, Dillery. I think I got that correct. We're giving tzedakah for her tonight. Also for Clifford and Harleen Hool. We're giving tzedakah for them tonight. Also for Nadine Akins. Nadine, she actually has two names, Nadine and Danielle, but her given name is Nadine Akins. We're giving tzedakah for her tonight. Also for Justin and Carlene. Did I write that down right? Is it Carlene, Terry?
Oh, Caitlin.
Caitlin. I didn't cross my T. Hold on. Let me. We're giving tzedakah for Justin and Caitlin. I crossed my T. So I knew there was something wrong with that. So Terry, have you heard any news about them lately?
I haven't heard anything lately. I think he may be home now and recovering. My understanding from my daughter, the owner of Cremont, where they all work, is going to do some special things for them that he, not normally required from an employer, but he's got some things he's going to help out and help in taking care of some of their medical expenses. So that's a blessing.
Okay. All right. So next on our list is Wendy Shepard. We're giving tzedakah for Wendy Shepard tonight. Also for Chrissy Seaton. So and then I'm getting both these together at the same time because I want Ronald to give us an update. Chrissy Seaton and her grandson, I think it is, Ty Thompson. So Ronald, can you give us an update on Chrissy? What's going on there, and on Ty if you have it?
I had a short message from Chrissy last night. They've run some different tests and they're waiting for results of that. But after that, then the surgery should be as soon as possible. They're, prepping for that.
Okay.
Ty's doing well. His recovery's going well. He's still framed up with his neck, keeping things in place, but he's back home and he seems to be coming along quite fine.
Okay. Baruch Hashem, we're going to keep them on the list for as long as it takes there. And also William and Tina Lyons is on our tzedakah list tonight. And Warwick Marshall is on our tzedakah list tonight. And Kathleen Suits. And I know you gave us an update last week, Terry. Have you got another update, or how's that going?
I think it's basically the same. She is improving.
Okay. All right. Good deal. So the next name is Rabbi Singer's father. And I should have sent this to you, Ronald, to have you pronounce this for me, but I'm going to try my best. But if you'll jump over on YouTube real quick and look up Rabbi Tovia Singer, you can help me if I mess this name up. He put prayer for his father on there. So I may let you do that. I may come back to his name. Is it okay?
Yep.
I'll come back to it.
Yep.
Have you got it now?
No, I'll go to...
Go to Rabbi Singer's page and Facebook page, but I'll come back to that. So also Evelyn Seal and her brother, we're giving tzedakah for them tonight, and also for somebody always sends in $1 with Amuela's Asher's name on it. She's not here tonight, so we're giving tzedakah for her, and also for Veronica Port, and also for Thomas Schaus. Now, as we give tzedakah for Thomas, we were talking to Thomas just prior to the meeting starting, and he is in the hospital tonight, so we are giving prayers and praying for him. And did you find it?
No, no, actually, I put in his name and I'm getting a mixed bag of everything.
Just put in Tovia Singer.
I put in Rabbi, I put in
Yeah,
Tovia.
yeah. Don't just put in Tovia Singer and he'll come up.
Possibly
Can you say it for me, Bob?
Shlomo Zalman ben Leah HaKohen.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much
Thanks,
for giving.
Thomas. Thanks,
Give it,
Bob.
yeah, thanks, Bob. We're giving tzedakah for Rabbi Tovia Singer's father, and then we're giving Thanksgiving tzedakah tonight for Wendell and Mary Parsons. And not going to say it, Wendell, tonight. Are you happy? I'm not going to say it. So anyway, so we're giving tzedakah for Thanksgiving tzedakah for them tonight, and then on our blessed memory tzedakah tonight is Betty Gribble. Betty Gribble. There was somebody that I talked to today, and they said they hadn't had a chance to catch our programs lately, but they wanted to for us to remember their mother, and so Betty Gribble. We're giving Thanksgiving tzedakah for Betty Gribble. Would you help us pray tonight?
Just a sec, Scotty.
Yes.
Amuela, Veronica, and Thomas.
Oh, I did them. You was looking for Rabbi Singer when I was doing those.
Okay, sorry.
You're good. Thank you for keeping up with me there, Ronald. You're good. All right. Hear our voice, Adonai. You are our God. Father of mercy, have compassion on us and accept our prayers with compassion and favor. For we know that you are a God who hears prayers and supplications. You are our King. Do not send us away empty-handed. Favor us and answer us and listen to our prayers. Amen. All right, Terry, are you about ready to me to put you on speaker view?
Yeah. Anything from last week we need to cover?
There was, and I started to send it to you, but I knew you were going to get into this week, so I've got a question that it's actually a question and a communication, and you love this text. I know you love this text, and I don't know if you want to jump over there now, but it's talking about Cain and the discussion that the Creator, Hashem, had with Cain about if he does good and about learning to do good, and you will be accepted. So I don't know if you want to jump back on that.
What's the question?
The question was, what was the Creator actually telling Cain, because they were under the impression that it couldn't come just by our actions.
Okay, that's been a false teaching from religion. It's actually, when you look at Genesis chapter 4:7, the Creator is telling Cain. Matter of fact, it starts out, in English, the word surely, which in the Hebrew basically means you already know this. When somebody says surely, come on now, means you're already aware of this issue. And so that's how the Creator started his conversation there in this area with Cain. And it says, surely, you know that if you do, if you do good,
improve yourself.
If you improve yourself, that's how it's translated. If you improve yourself, you'll be forgiven. If you don't, then sin lies at the door, but you can conquer it.
That's the key right there.
That's the very last things. You can conquer it. I mean, if the Creator tells you that you can conquer sin, don't let man tell you can't, because they're coming from a lie, basically a lie, because they're trying to be smarter than the Creator who made us. And the Creator who made us knows that we can conquer it. But that conquering is not a destroying. The sin there that's mentioned isn't it's where it says it's resting at the door. I don't have time getting all the Hebrew of the passage, but when you get into the Hebrew, just in a paraphrase format, it's not, it's been misunderstood as that sin is like a crouching animal waiting to pounce upon you. No, it's not that. What it is, and I love the way he puts it. It's more like a desire. You're going to desire certain things. If you don't improve yourself, these desires for those things which are not right for you because you're not improving yourself is going to come at you. Not like an animal. It's just like, these temptations, these desires, it's going to come at you, but you can conquer it. But the word conquer there is not meaning like destroying it and wiping it out, killing it, stomping it out. It's actually controlling it. It's more of a controlling action. And the best way I heard, one of my rabbis told me is basically to understand that, like in our culture, it's like when a cowboy breaks in a horse. They're not conquering the animal to destroy it. They're breaking that horse so that the two of them can use their both abilities that they have together to do a job. And he breaks that horse, is the wildness out of that horse, so that he can take all the energies and tame it where they can work together. And that's what that word there means, is we're not to destroy this thing that's actually bringing us the temptation. We're to break it and bring it under control, where we have the control of it, but to use it for its right purposes. But yeah, that's just a paraphrase on that passage. We can get into that again later, because I've been studying that passage 6 and 7 now for almost 20 years.
Yeah.
And so,
all right, Terry, I'm
I
going
hope
to
that
put you on.
helps.
Yes, I'm going to put you on
listening.
speaker view and mute my mic and turn it over to you.
All righty. Good evening, everyone. And again, welcome back to Outreach Noah. Tonight, we're going to pick up on page 77 of the righteous, the 7 Gates of Righteous Knowledge book study that we've been doing. I think this is week 31. We've only got to page 77, which that's fine. Of course, we've had breaks in between doing some really good discussions and Q&As. But tonight's contemplation is the prohibition of forbidden relations. Rabbi Weiner writes, he says, the power of procreation that God gave to humans is wondrous. With this power, a couple who conceive a child becomes partners with God in creation of a new person who will contain the image of God, which is unique and apart from all other types of physical beings. Therefore, humans are somewhat comparable to and partners with God in joining with Him in the special power to do this. Every precious thing needs guarding and proper respect, and the more precious it is, the more it needs to be guarded from misuse. This teaches the importance of guarding oneself from forbidden relations. Just as a respectable person would not disgrace himself by running naked and filthy in the streets, so too a person should not disgrace the abilities that God gives him. Instead, he should use his abilities in the way that is befitting and correct as God has commanded. This especially applies to intimate relations, which are intended for the bonding of a husband and wife to each other, and through this, for the raising up of children and proper families in society. If a person does not limit his sexual activity to these goals, he is degrading himself and degrading the craftsman who made him. And he sullies his body, emotions, and mind, which God created as a vessel for his soul. This is the main idea in which we see the foolishness of many people who destroy their honor and unique human image because they do not acknowledge the importance of honoring and guarding this wonderful power in a correct fashion. Just as a person can become imprudent from too much wealth or prestige if he does not use those blessings wisely, and it can even make him lose his good senses. The same can happen with a person who becomes animalistic and indulging his lust instead of controlling and challenging those desires toward their God-given purpose. Anything before I get into our scripture study? We good? All right. We're going to be looking at Genesis chapter 2, verse 24, and in verse 18. We're going to be going a little to 24 first. Genesis chapter 24. I got a desk full of books here. I'm doing some research on a subject I want to write on, and then I have some other things I had going on today that I had to have my information for. But Genesis chapter 24, this passage right here. Therefore, a man leaves his father and his mother and clings to his wife, and they become one flesh. This contains within this passage where we get from the beginning in Genesis the prohibition of forbidden relations. Probably going to suck my tea dry tonight. I think it was dusty at work today. I've been starting to do pre-inventory and getting into those shelves and counting and removing things that don't need to be in inventory. I've got all that dust stirred up. Rabbi Hirsch says, as long as a man was alone, which we're going to get to that in verse 18 here in just a few minutes. But as long as a man was alone, it was not good yet. And once the division was made, it was no longer possible for man to fulfill his calling by himself. Rather, the woman is to be, let me flip back over here and look spelling on pronunciation. The woman is to be an Azer Chen Gadot. Chen Gadot. That one there's got a little bit of tricky on how to pronounce it, but we're going to get into that again here in a few minutes on the Azer and what this means. And that is translated as a helper who corresponds to him. So the woman is rather to be a helper. Without her, he is only half of a man. Only together with his wife, he is a complete man. And the actual, a lot of these this English translations of this passage says therefore a man, but actually the Hebrew means for this reason. That is actually what the first words al kain is for this reason. A man leaves his father and his mother and clings to his wife, and they become one flesh. Before the division, Man's body was subordinate to one spirit, one divine will. So too, when man and woman are reunited, they become one body. However, they can become one body only if at the same time they become one mind, one heart, and one soul. And this in turn is possible only if they subordinate all of their energies and aspirations and all of their thoughts and desires into the service of the Most High. Herein lies the immense difference between the sexual life of other living creatures on one hand and human marriage on the other. Other creatures also are divided into male and female. But in their case, both sexes came forth independently from the earth. Remember when God called the earth to bring forth the animals after their kind. And when you read the Hebrew, when it doesn't say creatures as it's translated in English, it actually says nephesh. The earth is to bring forth souls, after their kind. Other creatures are also divided into male and female, but in their case, both sexes came forth independently from the earth. They do not need each other to fulfill their life's purpose, only for the purpose of breeding and for the time necessary for perpetuating the species do they seek to find each other, but not in the case of man. The woman is part of man. She is the helper. The man is helpless and lacking independence without his wife. Only the two together form a complete human being. Life in all aspects demands their union. Only of man does Scripture say to cling unto his wife. Only man was privileged with the married life. Let's see. Fall back to verse 18. Verse 18 says, "And God said, it is not good that man should be alone. I will make a helpmeet for him." Rabbi Hurt says, before man was created, creation came to a temporary standstill as God had announced that the crown of creation was about to appear. This was the case now, to be before the creation of woman. Man was already there, amidst the beauty of paradise in full bloom. But God had not yet said Tov. After every day, in the creation, he says, it was morning and it was after, it was 9:4, and it was good. It was Tov. It was good. But after the creation of man, he hadn't said that yet. He actually, it says here that it's not good that man should be alone. It's not good. So man was by himself. And as long as man was by himself, it wasn't good yet. It wasn't bad, but it just wasn't good. Scripture does not say it is not good for man to be alone, but rather, in the Hebrew, the way the wording is, it means this is not good, seeing that man is alone. As long as man is alone, the world is still without good. The goal of perfection, which the terrestrial world is to attain through man, cannot be attained in full as long as man is alone. The completion of the good was not man, but woman. Only when the woman was created was good completed. For man and for the entire world. As Rabbi Hirsch says, as our rabbis teach, as our sages, our Torah teachers teach, only by the virtue of his wife is man called Adam. Only husband and wife together are called Adam. And that comes from Tractate Yevamos 63a. The task is too great for either to perform alone and must therefore be shared by another. Hence, the woman was added to man so that together they should fully accomplish the purpose of Adam. The woman is to be an etzer, a helpmate. Even as superficial glance reveals that this term expresses the true dignity of woman, it is not to carry any implication of sexual relationship. Woman was placed into the sphere of man's activities. There she is needed, and there she is to be an etzer, a helper. And it does not in the etzer does not imply that a woman is to be subordinate to man. Actually, it connotes complete equality and equal independence. Woman is, the second word there, Hene Gadol, at man's side, parallel to him on one line. I'm going to go back to 24, and then I'm going to come back to 18 and finish up with some important information at the end. According to our sages in Sanhedrin 57b, this verse, talking about verse 24, man shall leave his father and his mother and cling unto his wife, and they shall be one flesh. This verse alludes to the Arot laws of the B'nai Noah. That's us, the children, the descendants of Noah. The Arot means the forbidden sexual relations. Comes from the root word ereva, or nakedness, or uncovering of nakedness. The scriptures say that man leaves his father and his mother and clings to his wife, which implies that this is choosing a wife. He should remove himself from his father and his mother, i.e., he should not marry a woman too closely related to him. If we take this in context with the verse, which opens up with all Cain, then perhaps a glimmer of light will be shed on the reason for the laws of forbidden relations. Because of the wife is an etzer to her husband, a helpmate, she must be by his side. He needs to be opposite, to stand across, to face him. Since she is to complete him, she must have the traits different from his. If a man and woman are close relatives, they may both have the same virtues, but they may also have the same faults. And thus, their union would serve only to intensify their common traits, both good and bad. Husband and wife would not be able to complete each other. Only if they are not close relatives will they possess different traits. Thanks to these differences, they will together become a complete human being. When they marry, they will become and will be more completely fulfilled. They will more completely fulfill their one task. And like I said, there's a lot more to this passage. We're not getting deep into these passages in this part of the study. When we actually get back into the divine code and we study the laws of forbidden relations, we'll get actually more deeper in all the different aspects and the different relations that's forbidden to us. But to conclude from where we were at earlier on, where it's not good for man to be alone. Rabbi Hirsch says, similar in the case of a man and a woman, the woman assumes part of the obligations that comprise the prestigious task of mankind, enabling the man to fulfill the remaining obligations more completely. But this is possible only if the helpmate is at his side. The helpmate, the Azer, should not work with him in one place, but should work opposite him in a different place in the same time. He had the helper. Had the helper been, this is really good. So we're going to bring this and we have some discussion. And we're gonna see why same-sex relationships opposes the will of the Creator. Had the helpmate, the Azer, been formed in the image of an Ish, a man, all the obligations of an Ish, a man, would have devolved upon him, and he too would have need of an Azer, a helpmate. Hence, the helpmate was formed as an Isha, a woman, who stands beside him. She stands beside the man, not with him or below him. She works beside him at another point in the same line. Each one is to work in his or her own special sphere, and thus they will complete each other. Now again, we'll go back to this. Had the helpmate been formed in the image of a man, if God had put two men together, all the obligations of the man would have devolved upon him. And he too would be in need of a helpmate. You'd have two men not being able to complete the purpose of their creation. Two men or two women do not complete each other nor complete their soul because of the way God designed their bodies and their souls. They would not be able to complete their job because they each would need the other half that was different, that was opposite of them. Hence, the helpmate was formed as an Isha, a woman who stands beside him. Go ahead, Scotty. No, I'm done. I knew it was going to be a little short tonight. But this is where we get these passages right here is where we get our prohibition of forbidden relations for those of the nations. And like I said, it wasn't this wasn't an intense, it's more of a contemplation, not an intense study on the subject. We'll be getting into that later.
Yeah, I know as people were following you tonight, I had to jump. I was gone about 2 minutes and come back. And I know as people was following you tonight, they, let's see, how can I say that? This one gentleman said, wait, I'm supposed to rule over the woman.
No, that's a false teaching from a Western religion. From a guy who didn't like women.
So what about the text? Now I'm gonna drill you here a little bit. What about the text that says, "Because you have hearkened unto your wife"?
Okay.
You know, so so you want to jump onto that? You know what I'm talking about? I know we're talking about the Garden of Eden.
Where's that passage at? Actually,
so-
this week I didn't think about looking into that one because
So
I had this other that.
I've got it. I've got it right here. Hold on just a second. We're talking about the second chapter of Genesis. No, I believe it's going to be the third.
That's what I was thinking.
Third chapter. Sorry. It's in the 17th verse of the third chapter.
Okay, hold on. Let me pull it up here.
Of course, we're into the blame game here. That's what I used to call it, the blame game. But you know, the Creator said, "Because you listened to your wife and you ate from." So go ahead. I want to.
No, go ahead.
And you ate of the tree from which I commanded you, saying, "You should not eat of it. Cursed be the ground for your sake." So, you know, a lot of people use this text and bring it into the conversation, just like the part of what you're talking about.
Right. Well, I'm looking at this real quick here.
And of course, we know this is where Adam named his wife. I didn't mean to throw that on you out of kilter there. So,
trying to see here. There's a lot that covers about the issue of the earth.
There is.
There's a lot of discussion about the earth, because of what the relationship between man and the earth. This was one of the areas where, because the man didn't hold close to what God wanted him to do, the earth began to rebel against the man, which is true. Climate change, by the way. The more man turns from God,
yeah.
The more man turns from God, the earth turns from man. When man makes teshuva, repentance, the earth will actually begin to return him back to man and be his helper. That's another whole teaching along that I learned a long time ago.
So I tell you what. So we're not putting you. I've got a couple other questions. So we're not putting this on the spot.
I know right here where he says, because this is something I'd learned as well. I'd forgotten about this because it's been so long ago. Adam, when he's talking about Eve, he says, Adam does not call her. Even after all this happens, Adam does not call her Chaya. Let me see if I need to go up. Rabbi Hirschgold says Adam could have railed at his wife for having caused him to be driven out of paradise. Yet he calls her by the greatest of her tasks. So we need to look at this because this is where, like you said, he gave her name, Hava. The renunciation was decreed upon man. The renunciation was decreed upon woman, but woman's merit in return for the renunciation decreed upon her is greater. She affords deliverance from death and gives life, and through her man becomes immortal. Notice, Adam does not call her Haya, or Haya, which means life or life, but Hava. Hava always denotes giving spiritual life. He doesn't call her that she's giving physical life. Haya, she births physical life. Hava denotes that she's giving spiritual life. In all respects, a woman is an eem, which is not only a physical life, but for spiritual and emotional life as well. She gives life to the next generation so that it may continue to fulfill the destiny of man. So her name, when he chose, even after all this happened, he gave her a name that denotes that she through her man is made immortal. And her name means spiritual life, not physical life, but spiritual life. So in the English, things are hidden from us.
Yeah.
That's in the Hebrew. But he covers some stuff here that I'm not ready to cover right now. We'll cover it at a different time. Because there's some false, erroneous religious teachings also developed from this passage that we can cover at a different time because it's going to be a very intense subject.
Yeah. So so another question that come in and what you were reading earlier. So if a person becomes a widow, should they remarry?
I'm going to say, it's going to be different from every person, but like Rebbe Nachman of Breslov has a very interesting take on this passage. He lived some 200 something years ago, and he was married at the age of 13. He was a rabbi by that time as well. He had men that were like 40 years old. I think it was Rebbe Natan, Rebbe Natan, that who actually recorded his works, Rebbe Nachman's works. Started following him. He was like, I think around the age of 40, somewhere in there. Rebbe Nachman was blessed with a very high soul at a very young age. He even passed away at the age of 38 of tuberculosis. They lived over in the area of the Ukraine, it's called Breslov. And his wife passed away. And there is Jewish law on mourning that they follow. And Rebbe Nachman made a comment that he would have gotten married the day, I'm just paraphrasing from memory, like the day after his wife passed away, he would have gotten remarried if the Jewish law would have provided him to be able to. Because he says, man is not good when he is alone. And he goes, I don't want to be not good.
Yeah.
He's only a half a person. And so, that was, his teaching on that. that's really going to be, for the nations. There are some different commandments about marriage that applies to Israel than it does to us and what God commanded them as his people. But the principle is that man is not, man's only half a man without his wife. Some people can remarry, and some people should remarry, because some people are never meant to be alone, man or woman. I'm like one of those. I knew early on that I would probably marry young, and I did. My wife and I dated 7 months and married, and we've been married 37 years. But then there are some people that don't, I guess, sense that issue to be married, to have a mate. But in the beginning, in Genesis, when God first created the earth, it was not meant for man to be alone. The earth needed man needed to procreate and settle the earth. That was one of the missions, is to procreate and scatter and settle the whole earth.
Okay.
I don't know if that answered that or not.
I think so.
I think a person would need, in that situation, especially if they're a younger, let me say, if they're of a younger age, and it depends on how you want to look at what define younger age, and they become widowed or widowed, whether you remarry. I would, just out of what I know, I would recommend it. But when you have people who've been married for 50 and 60 years, and they're in their 70s and their 80s, I've known some people that's got married in their 70s and 80s, that were widows and widowers, and where they come together for, the companionship. Man needs a woman, to complete him in all aspects. That's because that's the way God created humanity. That's the reason why after he created man, he didn't say then he didn't say that it was good. It wasn't until after the woman was made, he said, now everything I have done is good. And so women, also I'm going to give you something too from Jewish tradition. The woman is the most spiritual of the species. And the ancient Torah sages of Israel teaches us that the reason for this, man was made outside of the garden and brought in. The garden was the height of spirituality, and woman was made inside. And that's what the Torah sages teaches. The woman was created inside the garden. She was created inside where the presence of God was at its height. The righteousness and the holiness of God was at its height, was inside the garden. And man was made out and brought in. And the woman, that's where she first appeared. She appeared on the earth in that atmosphere. And so the Torah sages teaches that the woman is the higher spiritual being.
Okay. Well, I look forward to us picking this up next week. That'll give you a little time to work on that text we were talking about, and I guess you're gonna get a little deeper into this subject next week, right?
I was going to move right. I was going to move right on to the next contemplation, because these aren't really set up to get really that deep. But if you want me to, if everybody wants, no, I'm whatever you need.
The only one is the one where the given an explanation to, and you did. The explanation to, because you have hearkened unto your wife, because you have hearkened unto the woman.
The next contemplation is theft, and that's probably that might be a couple of weeks of discussion on that. So if we need to take another week on this, we can. So if you've got any questions of what we've covered tonight or any statements, get them to Scotty, and Scotty get them to me.
Well, let's do this. Let's play it by ear the next couple of days. If enough questions come in that will litigate us going back into this next week, we will. Otherwise, we'll go on to the prohibition of theft.
Yeah. Because see, the main issue of this was forbidden relations. The way God made man and woman, and for their purpose in their creation, the forbidden relations that we have, not marrying relatives, not same-sex marriages, either way, all of these are forbidden relations, and there's quite a few different relations that we are not supposed to have, that we're forbidden from. And this is because of that passage that man was to leave his mother and father and cling unto his wife, and they shall be one flesh. That gives us our divine purpose on earth, is to be partners with God in creation, that it takes a husband and a wife and God to produce a child. And then that is giving birth to another physical being that contains the image of God. And that's what this particular reading tonight, that's what that was about, the importance of not having and taking part of forbidden relations, because we damage the procreation of the image of God on the earth, and we damage the will of God that has for our lives as man and women. And this goes on with what the craziness is going on in our world today with, all these people wanting to be something that they're not, that they can't be, and so this is a timely subject with what we go on. It can be a hairy subject, and some people may not like the issue, but I got a Southern phrase that I won't say here, but
yeah.
The milk will be sweeter the next time,
Understood.
But there's a reason why we were created as man and woman. There are physical duties and spiritual duties that we both are required to do. And it was interesting. It wasn't talking about this subject, but it was very interesting. Some conversation I had today with this guy I work with. He's a Baptist pastor, and we got to talking about Rome, Greece, Germany, and he was bringing out some really interesting historical stuff about Germany and how the original SS was started by this particular person who was a homosexual, and they were actually, it's historically proven that they had killed millions of men and women because they were wanting to change the shape of the nation of Germany to be this one particular way. And then somebody stepped in and talked to Hitler, because he was a part of that, and said, "You've got to stop this." And it was very interesting how Germany, Rome, and Greece, the things that was going on in that area brought their destruction, and where we are at as a nation is following right in suit. And we were talking about that today at work, and talking about history and what actually was going on. And it all dealt with the forbidden relations that began to take over each of those nations, brought their demise. And so this is an important subject. It's one that will not get very good press today, but
Yeah. All right, Terry, I'm going to bring us to a close. And actually, it's right on time, so it's not like it went short or went long. It's 8:59, so by the time I get through, it's going to be a few minutes after 9, and I'll get my gate locked early. So it is so good to have everybody with us tonight. I would like to thank everybody that's listening by Power Faith Radio. The Georgia group texted just a few minutes ago and said they had a low group tonight, 27. You know how people are during the holidays, she said. And then the coffee shop group texted and said enjoyed it. And then we have other people that commented on the class/meeting tonight. And so we appreciate it. Now you can go to YouTube and watch the recording of this and share this video and all the videos with all your social media platform. And while you're there, go ahead and subscribe hit that notification bell, and you'll be notified every time a new video goes up. And you can also email us. Just send the email to outreachnoah@gmail.com. Terry, are we coming to a close?
I guess so.
Okay. I guess we will see everybody next time.
All right.
All right.
Well, have a good week. Good 4th to all y'all.
Yeah.